also got an e-commerce brand. Yeah, but then also just
I'm all good, thanks, mate.
yeah, that kind of just that cash flow kind of cycle is just killer. Like, so that's pretty average. Yeah.
What happened with you then?
We've been in terms of in terms of sorry, my econ brand or the yeah. Honestly, I don't even forecast that far in advance because I've got basically I've got this watch dress, right? So I've got a massive set of SKUs, but really only sell like 30 or even 10 of those SKUs are like my best sellers. Everything else is just one listing that is like if they buy one, they can add on to the bundle packs basically. So I basically ample stock of my probably too much stock of my core sellers just so I can pass I don't want to still at the moment, my MOQ per SKU for them is 300, which is like more than reasonable for me in terms of like I own brand here, so I'm not like I'm not paying myself a brand. So this is where I'm like, okay, well, do I commit hardcore to my core SKU line, really invest in that, get that unit cost down, really with my margins, to then be more profitable to run into marketing and not run.
Speaking of that, next.
Transition plans, but at the moment it's like vitamin stuff is actually more lucrative, more fun.
Tomorrow is supposed to be just an hour and morning other startup.
Law in the background, I like to sell it, I can't sell it, I can't say it. In terms of profitability, but I'm not even sure if a buyer would be open to go, hey, you're in right now, good way, it's not on Facebook and stuff on the
Yeah, marketing communications range.
It's not fun for me anymore. Like,
Nothing to do with it.
Hello, hello. Hello. 2 minutes and we're going to get started. 1 minute.
Well, and yeah, I'm thinking like 3% off this one mistake. So, and that's really
Particular thing when you're doing croissants.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out because mine, I'm all USB-C, so I might just walk across to it. I'll just walk across and touch it. But there's the clicker if you need it for yours. When you're doing your presentation, do you need a clicker?
It's just on PowerPoint.
Cool. Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you, Glenn. My name is Dave Newman. I and Scott Glue and you, the community, are Morning Startup. We meet here every 2 weeks without fail, except over Christmas. Been going since late 2011, where it originally started more like an AA meeting than a community group. We've now grown to over 6,000 members. I think we're like third or fourth largest tech community in Australia. But every 2 weeks we meet here, and we meet here for a prime purpose, which is to sort of share some of the knowledge. We'll always have a great speaker like we've got today, but we'll share some knowledge, share some insight. So if you are thinking of going on that journey, being a startup, or you do have a startup, or you're looking to solve a problem, we're here to kind of help and put you on that way. Like I say, we meet here every 2 weeks. And what we do, we have a normal format, and that format is, if there's anybody here that's new to Morning Startup, who's new? Hands up. Yeah, good, excellent. And we always have a shameless plug. So if you want to stand up, introduce yourself, and if you've got an ask, always have that ask. If you're working on a project you want to share, feel free to share it with us now. The whole point of it is that you're probably got a problem. You're like, oh, geez, I really need a developer, or I really need a business development person, or I need this, or I'm looking for this. And you never know who you're going to connect to. And like I say, in this building, billion-dollar companies have been created, literally a desk no more than 20 meters over that way. a local billion-dollar business was created about 10 years ago. And so the power of networking, the two founders met at an event like this, similar to this. So it does work. Who's brave enough to stand up and just kind of introduce themselves and tell us what they're working on?
Yeah, we're going to go up.
Oh, I know who you are. You're famous, I think.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Kyle Harbour. I've been in Perth for the last 5 or 6 years, always been in WA. Moved into this year getting back into tourism and developing my own tourism marketing agency. So I cover digital marketing services for tourism and travel brands.
Brilliant. And you got an ask?
Not today.
Not today. Not a problem. Do you want to hand the microphone across?
Yeah. I'm Lucas, and this is my mum, Brianna. And we started a nail polish business called Glossy Boys. Started, I think, about 2 years ago, running for about a year. It's actually been 1 year anniversary, I think, a couple of days ago, which is pretty cool. It's been going great ever since. We've got some really cool stuff planned out in the future. Yeah.
What's your ask? Because you asked, for those of you who don't know, I have been following your story, so it's a pretty cool story. And it's a pretty unique product, and I wish you all the best. Have you got an ask? What are you looking for?
Yeah, digital marketing, because, I mean, like, we're always up to our socials, but maybe have better email marketing. That's always great. Okay, so if there's someone here that can help, by all means. There's networking that will happen after this. We'll have this will go on until about 8:20, and then basically we get this space. We'll explain there's coffees and there's food at the bottom, but you can network as well. Cool.
Thank you very much. Anybody else brave enough? Not today. That's cool.
Let's have a challenge.
Go on.
I'm John Saunders. I haven't been here for a long time. I was here when it first started. I used to have a successful cheese business, and I was trying to get an ethics media networking system going off the back of it, and that didn't work. But I'm still plugging along with it, trying to get Choose Your Own Adventure holidays going. I'm down in Albany, so I'm looking to network with people that are looking to connect people with people in the country, and also looking for someone that knows how to code Python. I'm not computer literate, being a farmer, but I've lots of connections in the country, and I think if people work together, we can create a lot of opportunities for everybody.
Yeah, brilliant. You might want to check out She Codes. There's a good one there. There's that, and there's lots of other. If you look at Meetup, there's Perf. I forget what they're called. Glenn, help me out here. What's the Perf Coders Meetup called? No, not She Codes. There's another one for Python. Fenders, that's it, yeah. There's a few. If you look at meetups, there's a few like us that specifically, and you can meet developers there. Far away. Floor's yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ali, and I run Perfect Web Solution Digital Marketing Service. I'm specialized in e-commerce and social media branding. We help businesses to brand their product on social media, and if they're selling on Amazon or eBay, so they have a chance to come up 10% on the top results main page on Amazon or eBay if they have the social branding in place.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Anyone else? There you go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christian Sajire. I'm into cybersecurity. It's something I'm working on, though, so I'm hoping to have a startup in cybersecurity. Okay. I was formerly an IT instructor also.
Okay, brilliant. One more. Anyone else? Yeah, sure. I think this is...
It's not working now. That's fine. I don't need it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you do, because the microphone, we are streaming to the internet.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name's Eddie Zhang. I'm the founder of Zomatics. Been around 2.5 years. What we do is we help startups and small businesses visualize and design the slickest process possible and automate the heck out of it in a market-leading project and work management software called Asana. Some of you might know that already. And Ammo Marketing is one of my clients as well, and they're really great to work with. So if you want to have a chat about business processes, systems, processes, and how to automate it, come have a chat to me. I'm thinking of an idea a couple of days ago, and I'd love to speak with a software developer to, basically brainstorm if this idea could be developed or if something exists in the world. So come hit me up if you're a software dev. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. So every first Wednesday of every month, so I think it's today, I'm actually not sure if it's happened. I'll have to check with Scott if it's happening. I'm pretty sure because Scott is not here. Normally the beautiful Scott Glue is next to me here. But I will double check. But yeah, Nowhere Man's Brewery, go and meet up some other founders. If you find it hard to get up in the morning, you can meet people at the Founder Sundowner. We are streaming this, so a big thank you to the jobs industry, the Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovations department. Again, we couldn't do this we couldn't stream it to the regions without their help. They come in and they've basically sponsored for that to happen. So it is being streamed out to YouTube, streamed out to the regions so they can all join and have like a co-watching party down in those areas. And if you haven't checked it out, for those of you, I'm not sure if it's still open, but Innovator of the Year opened about a month ago. Has anybody applied for that here? No? It's worth doing, it's worth checking out. And all of these different activities here, we've obviously got Waves, which has brought 3 new VC funds to WA, and that's doing some really good stuff. But yeah, big shout out to the New Industries Fund. And also a big shout out to Jürgen and the team there at Perth Video for making it possible to stream. Like I said, they're also streaming it out to YouTube. Ammo, if you haven't checked out Ammo's Weird Growth podcast, and I'll definitely recommend. There's some great insights into it. It's really interesting. I think I'm not sure if there's a real cadence to it, but they do come out with some great speakers. I know Scott was on it himself, explaining how he went from here to the States and then from the States back to here, and there's some really good nuggets of information in there. So if you haven't checked out their podcast, do. And if you are looking for marketing, check out Ammo Marketing. Glenn, do you want to do yours? Or do you want me to do it for you and butcher it?
You butcher it.
Okay, so who's looking for a job here? No one? Who needs to recruit people? I do. If you are looking for recruitment, then check out Glenn at Beecham Group. He's been a massive advocate of the startup scene for like over a decade now. So big. Sorry? Yeah, when we both had hair. If you are looking for that next job or you are looking to recruit, then check out Glenn at Beecham Group. And also, if you're just looking to understand what's going on in the industry now, so Glenn has some really, really interesting insights because he's at the coalface as to what's going on. What should I be paying Glenn for a senior developer? What should I be paying for this? So again, check Glenn out. He's a great resource and a great company. Keep Space, go on.
I'll add one thing there to you guys, one thing at the moment. We're doing some work with a company that does product and software engineering space. We found someone basically who's not looking for work. One of the great things that I use the word bash in the comments on the client's heads. He's trying to think a lot more, Gary used the word too, strategically about hiring way ahead of the curve. It's really hard when you've got a small business, particularly a growing business. But I can't strenuously promote the fact that if you can think ahead of the curve about what your next hire, you're 2 hires ahead up, you're away. Because the benefit it gives you to tap into what Dave spoke to you about earlier about that networking event, you might bump into someone that knows someone that might have you too. Hazel did it like in stays. And I had a client that actually went through that process today. I won't use the word unicorn a little bit, but hired someone who will be a game changer for his business as a software developer. And Dave will tell you, as rare as rock and roll stir. To finish it off, the lady, we assess people based on cognitive behaviour abilities. Out of 450, she got 440. She's in the top 98% of the world's population. A German girl who's working remotely for a bank based here in Perth down in Shoalwater, they're in your world. Top 98 percentile, so top 2% of the world's population. And it was done. But again, I also sort of reiterate that Perth is a very good little talent base of people that not a lot of organisations know about, so just keep that in the back of your head.
There's some food at the back here, so Keep Space, Jesse and the crew, thank you Jesse so much for sponsoring the food here. If you are hungry, there is some buns and that. What you don't eat, I take next door for my staff, so they always love every second Wednesday because they get a few donuts and that. But if you are looking for, anybody here in e-commerce?
I use Keep Space, they're great.
Yeah, perfect. You go, they're basically last mile, all the distributors, you ship them their goods and then they'll take care of the rest of it for you. So they'll send it out to your clients. And Tekon, if you are looking for a resource, basically check out Tekon. They are if you are building a product or a tech space, then check out Tekon. And also a big thank you to Patrick and the gang there, because the coffees, if you do want a coffee, go down to the coffee shop there. Just tell them that you're from Morning Startup. It's only from now until about 8:30, and you'll get a nice free coffee courtesy of Tekon. Right, I'm going to whiz through these ones. I know there's almost too many, but again, like Morning Startup doesn't take any money from any of these things. The coffee, the breakfast and all that is for your enjoyment, but we couldn't do this. We've been doing this for years without Space Cubes. If you are looking for a co-working space, they have multiple co-working spaces along the terrace and also now over in Sydney. Check out Space Cubes. Who's subscribed to Startup News? Cool. If you're not, make sure you're subscribed. It's amazing. If for those who, like me, become slightly disconnected from the ecosystem, that's a great way of finding out who's doing what every Friday in your inbox. Who's looking to get money or learn how to do their business? If you are, I would check out +8. They have 2 courses. They've just recruited the first or the cohort for this year, which is the main accelerator. But they also have +8 Sprint, which is really good if you're really early and you kind of want to know how to get your product market fit, how you do marketing, all the little bits. Then check out that. I think there is a fee for it, but it's definitely worth the money that you'll learn. And then you'll get, hopefully, to apply that into the actual +8, where you can get some actual funding to grow your business. And there's been lots of big businesses that have come out of +8 now. It's been going for about 5 years. Startup WA advocates for the government, but for the startup ecosystem and the government, and also TechBoard. If you haven't claimed your profile, go and check out TechBoard. It's a free way to kind of get the information out there to a lot of VCs, a lot of investors, a lot of private equity in that bucket as well. They can claim your profile and basically they can get it out there for you. So without further ado, and next time in a couple of 2 weeks we have Eduardo coming to present on Influence Marketing 101. So if you are looking to do a bit of marketing, come out to the next one and he'll be sharing some of his insights and knowledge. So if you want to get in contact with us or you want to present even, then hit us up here. We're always looking for presenters. So we love to share the love. But next, all I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to the lovely Rebecca, who's going to talk to us about building a minimal viable business plan, which is something of great interest. I'm going to unplug here. This is not working, is it?
I don't know.
Oh, can you put it in and we'll see. Try the other side. Who here's got a business plan? Who thinks their business plan's any good? Who has multiple scenarios of business plan? Yeah. Is it presenting up there? Maybe just take it out of that little adapter and put it in by USB, straight USB. In there, there we go. What are you presenting with? Something's just coming in. There we go.
Okay. We'll just start on the second slide.
Perfect. There we go. So I'm going to hand over to Rebecca, who's going to teach us about business plans. If when you're presenting, just because this mic here picks you up for...
Which way is it?
That way.
That way. Good morning, everyone. So obviously I'm Rebecca. The first slide just jumped, so we'll start on the second slide. So my business is Time to Leap, and I'm a business development specialist. So I'll give you a little bit of a background about me and why I'm actually here today and my sort of knowledge in the startup space. So I support technology founders and technology businesses to get their product to market. The reason being is I used to work for a custom software developer here in Perth, and I was their sales and business development manager, and I used to support the founders on the other side. So working with a development company, I was the non-technical person in our organisation, and I used to speak the language to basically the founders and the non-technical people. So that's sort of where I come in. So I used to support them through their market research, through getting their product ready to go to development, so the scoping, and then into development and then beyond. And I used to see something over and over again, that they needed support on the other side. They needed support, well, yes, the development, they understand that development perspective as a founder, but the other side of the business, when you do release your product or your app to the App Store, people are not just going to come. So that's kind of where I come on that side. So I've been in the tech industry for about 2.5 years. I've been in my own business since January this year. So at the moment I am supporting some service-based businesses, but I'm obviously looking to build and support some product-based businesses as well. So about 10 years in the industry, all up in different industries. So today we're going to talk about some business development, and I guess what I want to say is if you've got a product or you've got a service-based business, often you know exactly what you're doing on that side, but maybe the business development usually gets left. I'm finding in the networking groups and things like that I'm in, usually business development is at the end or they don't schedule it in. So that's why we're going to talk about this today. So business development strategies that work for you. I think that we all have our own unique standards in the way that we work. So it's finding strategies that actually work for you and your business rather than the cookie cutter way. We've got exploring non-tech related activities to help you reach your goals. So obviously if you are a tech company, if you're not, they still apply to you. Know your customers and your users. The minimal viable business plan. So I will talk about that a bit later, just because I think that's really important, especially if you are a startup and you've only been in business 1 or 2 years. You don't need that massive business plan, in my opinion. How forging strategic partnerships is the key to your success. I think that's a really great way of building your business and you're not having to start from scratch. So we'll cover that a bit later. We've got a case study as well, and then Q&A at the end. If anybody has any questions during the presentation, obviously just pop your hand up and we can have a chat. Okay, so the foundation of business development, and why is this important for businesses? Well, we're all in business for a reason, let's be honest. And when I say, who are you as a person and why did you start your business, or why are you looking to start a business? Because I know everybody in the room would be in various stages here. Or maybe you're still employed and you're thinking about starting a business. Your mission and vision. The mission and vision is the reason why you're doing business and the reason why you're here really today, or you're in business. So I think that it's finding the reason and reminding yourself of that reason often, and that obviously helps you with your business development as well. How to get your product or service out to the world. So that's marketing. I'm going to talk a bit further about some of these in the future slides, so I'll just brush over these. Your brand awareness, your personal and company. We're going to talk about brand awareness as well, just because that's obviously really important. And building trust and rapport. That's how you grow your business, and that's how, when I was working as a business development manager, that's pretty much the key to being successful. Okay, so business development strategies that work for you are keeping it simple. I think that's the main thing that I want to say today is it doesn't have to be hard. It can actually be incredibly easy, and your business development activities, they have to work for you and your business, but it's about keeping them really, really simple. I think that if you are in those first couple of years, it's making sure you schedule time every single week to do your business development activities. So that can be networking, it can be coming to an event like this, it can be doing your social media, online, all of those things, but just keeping it really, really simple. As long as you're getting yourself out there and meeting new people and growing your business or talking to your potential customers, that's the most important thing. So I'm going to talk about the use of storytelling. So people love stories. And I think that if you are, because I know we've got a mix in the room, some product, and we've also got some services here, so I'm trying to make it for everybody. People love stories. So let's have a think about if you do have some current customers at the moment, are you able to share their story? I know in some technical areas or NDAs and things like that, you might not be able to share the story, but can you still share the story without the company name, for example? So share the stories and allow potential customers to know a little bit about it. And social media, which I've got there, well, market education, which I use on social media for. So one of my clients, it's a service-based business, it's a software developer, and we do a lot of market education. The reason being is if people don't know what actually you do, it's really difficult to get that message out there. So how can you educate the market and allow them to know exactly what you do? So for this example, I'll use the client that I work with now because it's a custom software developer. So we talk about app development. We explain how the development process works, for example, because people don't know that before they're not working with a development team, and educating and how that all works. So that's just something you can do. I'm obviously educating here, so market education can be around business development, which is what I do. So I'm doing that here today, so speaking opportunities, going to networking events, all of those areas. You can market educate in person, obviously online as well. So I've talked about the right way of in-person and online, but building a brand, not just a product. I think that this is probably one of the most important things. When I did work as a business development manager for the previous company, it's actually about brand. And I think what people think, business development managers, they just sell, but that's actually not true. How that looks like is you're actually out there building a brand. And that brand is a personal brand first and a business brand second. So I guess you're probably wondering, what do you mean by that? So people are going to buy from you as a founder. They're going to like, know and trust you. So if you can build your brand really, really well, it just means that people are going to be more likely to engage in your services or your product. So when you are showing up at a networking event, for example, after this, we're all going to be networking, it's putting your best foot forward and showing up as a founder. All right. Okay, so getting your technology, product and service, and we've got to obviously talk about non-tech related. So I know probably not all the businesses in this room are tech companies, but a lot of us are working with tech companies if we're not a tech company. So we've got to think about the non-technical activities. So for myself, even though I do business development and that's my role in my business, I still have to schedule in my business development activities, just like anybody else. So every Friday on an afternoon, I schedule in a couple of hours, and that's just purely to do my own business development, not everybody else's. So social media is a great one. We're going to talk a little bit more about target market shortly, but where does your target market hang out on social media? Are they on LinkedIn? Are you business to business? Are you business to customer? So having a look at that and then doing your social media strategy around that. For myself, I'm business to business. LinkedIn is obviously this place that all of my customers are. So I'm going to use LinkedIn to do my social media and engage with people on my Time to Leap page, but also my personal page as well. Where's your target market located? Like I just said, we're talking about in person. So as business development, we are actually looking at the target market. Where are they located professionally and where they're located also in their everyday life as well. So there is an exercise I did in the past a couple of years ago, and I've already done that really recently for my own business. It's actually looking at different segments. So professionally, where are the people? Where are your target market located? So they could be at a networking event like this. They could be under an association if they're like an accountant, for example. So looking at where they are, and then also where they are in their everyday life. So maybe they do sports, maybe they're on, they go to certain restaurants. The reason we do that is because that allows us to build that trust, which is obviously really important. And building the cold audience as well. I'm assuming most people in this room have done some market research at some stages in their business and probably continue willing to do that. So obviously the market research is a really key way of knowing where your customer's located, what's their needs and their wants, and what they need essentially. That helps you write your content, it helps you write your copy, and it really helps you build that trust as well. Okay, know your customers and users. So I put users if you do obviously have a software, we're going to call them users, or your customers. So has anybody done their market research recently? Just curious. You have? Okay, great. Excellent. So I think that you want to do your market research pretty continuously, and every so often you just want to engage with those customers, and also our target market changes as well as our business grows. So we need to know our customers. So what do they need? Why would they buy our product? Why would they buy our service? What's the reason behind this? So recently, I'm looking to build a membership site at some stage, and I did some market research around that. So I did 5 calls with people in my potential target market, went on LinkedIn, did an outreach, just did a post and said, look, I'm looking for 5 people to speak to. Didn't matter if I didn't know them too well, it's actually better that I didn't. And then we did those calls, and I recorded those calls because it allows me to get that information from them using their language as well. And then I can go and basically download all of the call, so I have the text, and then I can build my copy around that. So it's a really good way to just know your users as well. And asking as well. So in this room, there's probably potential customers here in this room for you. So asking the question, just network, have some questions, and you don't know who they know as well. Okay, I skipped over that a little bit because I want to talk about this section. So that's what was on the slides, and the main thing that Scott actually said this is a really great thing to talk about and would be really relevant for this area. So everybody knows what a minimal viable product is, especially if you're in the tech industry, but we actually want to talk about a minimal viable business plan. So if you're a founder and you're in the first 1 or 2 years of your business, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I don't think you need a 60 or 80-page business plan, let's be honest. Some of the business coaches might say something completely different, but when you're in the early stages, you're finding your feet, you're finding your users, you're finding your service-based business, you're finding who you're helping. I've been 6 months in my business myself, and things have just been slowly changing. As I've evolved and as I've got more confident and realised where I'm meant to be working, it's kind of evolved with me. So if I built a 60 or an 80-page plan, I would have had to start again. Do you know how much time that is? And a lot of us are, we're trying to juggle a lot of things at the moment, wear a lot of hats. As new founders, or even if you've been in business for a while, you wear a lot of hats. You're having to make sure everything's running. If you've got staff, that you're having to manage that. You don't want to have to keep changing your business plan. So they're my main points that I would go with. So short-term goals. It is the new financial year, so I think this is a really great time to talk about this. What are your short-term goals? So in business development, we usually do a quarterly plan, just like sales, but I actually do monthly plans as well. So it might not be revenue goals or anything like that, but I want to know what I'm going to be doing every single month. So having those short-term goals to lead to that long-term goal. What is your long-term goal and your year goal? So your year goal could be anything. It could be numbers, it could be numbers of customers, it could be users. It could be that you want to go overseas and present. It could be anything. Obviously that's going to be unique to your business and your business in mind, but if you have an idea what that long-term goal is for the year, it just really allows you to make those short-term goals in line with that, basically. Always going to talk about the mission, vision and North Star. So I don't know if anybody else in the room is the same as me. My mission has changed in the 6 months. So I thought yes, and I started business quite quickly because I had a couple of clients waiting at the door. So I'm quite unusual in that sense. So I just ran with it and just started. And I've really just gone back and actually looked at things again in June. worked with a business coach to actually nut out exactly what my mission and vision was in a bit more detail. And I'm much happier now, but I wouldn't regret that first 6 months. So having that basic plan just means that I can go back to that and over that again and just refine it as I grow and as I learn. Measures and metrics. So obviously I've been in the sales industry for a while, but there's 2 ways you can do this. Some people will say, look, I have a financial goal that I want to hit for this year. So if that's what you prefer to put in as an actual financial goal, or what I do, and some of the others I know as well in different industries, we actually have a goal of customers. We have an idea of what that North Star is and what we'd like to earn this year. But if you've got packages, especially if you're a service-based business, you have an idea about how many packages that you would need or how many customers you can collaborate and help. And then you will know exactly what those numbers are at the end. I prefer that metric just because it's much nicer. It's more about making a difference, and that's why I'm in business. And I'm sure that's why a lot of you are in business as well, because you want to help people. So you can do it that way. Metrics can be, it can be incredibly up to you. So keeping that plan and going over that plan every single month. So at the beginning of the month or the end of the month, looking at your minimal product, minimal plan, and working with that. So I just think that why would you want to have a 60-page document? And that can grow as you grow. So as your business evolves and you go a little bit more and a little bit more, then you build your plan on top of that. And then it sort of grows with you. Does everybody have a business plan here? Just curious. You do? A few of you do. Probably a few of you don't as well, which is okay. What I would say is just start simple. It doesn't have to be this big plan. It doesn't have to be this massive, whatever the business coaches are saying. Just write some goals down. Just have a Word document, a Google document, whatever that is that works for you. Just start mapping out your goals and just have a plan. This helps with your business development activities because then you have a goal in mind, you have your mission and vision, and you're reminding yourself constantly what that is. And that will take you back and remind you that when you get busy in your business and there's lots going on, you need that to reflect basically and come back to why you're doing what you do. Does anybody have any questions around that before we move on? Sure?
Just about the vision, mission and vision, you said you revisited it in June.
Yeah.
So you're coming from a coach's point of view, I was just curious about what did you fit into?
Yeah.
Can you repeat your question so that is on live?
Yeah, sorry, so just asking her about... So, speaking from a coach point of view, because I'm a coach as well, just curious about your mission and vision that you talked about. Obviously, you started your business in January, but then you've looked like you've slightly pivoted or you've readjusted. So just wondering what that experience or that, what you went through to do that.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Well, when I started my business, I had 2 service-based businesses waiting at the door, so I knew them already through business networking and already had those relationships with them. So I basically just started, and I was like, all right, I'm doing business development activities for them, working under their brand, which was amazing, and it was really awesome to start that way. And I'm still working with them today, but I sort of thought, new financial year coming, let's actually look about what's my future business going to look like. So I've done this exact activity myself. I got my plan out and I said, well, actually, what do I want to be doing in my business? Why am I doing what I do? What do I love? And I did that big exercise, brainstorming. I actually get a piece of paper out and do my brainstorming manually. Just for me, that actually is helping me get that out of my head onto paper, but everybody's different, obviously. And I realised that when I was working for the software developer, what I actually really loved was the products. I loved supporting the founders through that journey and helping support them through the development side, the market research, and that allowed me to reflect that, well, actually, products are what I love, and products are what I know. So that's why I've kind of pivoted in my business. And that was just purely on reflection and spending that time to actually look at, well, what do I want to do? Because it's your business. You get to decide what that looks like. Obviously, your users and your customers do dictate part of that, but you have the power to decide for yourself. So that's the reason I pivoted a little bit. I still work with service-based businesses, but I want to work with some more product-based businesses too. So that's kind of why. Awesome.
Thank you. Goal setting. I'd like to know how you set your goals. Do you sort of write them down? Do you sort of envision them? Sort of, you know, when you're envisioning them, you're sort of prophesising and going, okay, this is where I want to reach in the next 6 to 12 months. How do you actually go through your goal settings?
Sure. So I basically write them down manually first. That's how I just want to get them out of my head. And I have that idea about, you know, the metrics of the year, like where do I want to reach? So how many customers do I want to work with this year, for example? And then my goals around that. And that could be to reach those customers, for example, I need to go and join a networking group, for example. So I know that I'm going to be networking every fortnight, which I do belong to a group. So having that in place and having a goal to say, well, I'm going to put myself out there more. Well, what does that look like? So it's actually, this is a little bit coaching based, really. It's like reflecting on, well, yes, you have your goal, and how do you want to get there? What do you need to do in order to get there? So just jotting them down and just having to think about the big picture, and then actually making them a little bit smaller and saying, well, what do I have to do to reach those goals? Do I have to be in person more? Do I have to do videos online? And obviously that's a working with you as well. Like, don't do something that's completely uncomfortable to you, to know that you're going to put it down, but you're not going to do it. So picking something that you know that you'll actually do, and actually have an accountability. So do you have another business friend or a founder that you can collaborate with and say, let's meet on a monthly basis and let's keep each other accountable? It doesn't have to be anything more than that. Just saying, am I doing my goals? Did I have some struggles? I think that we all need help with each other, and just having that person to chat to once a month, and just making sure that your goals are aligned, and don't be too worried if you change them as well. Like, you know, as you go along, you're like, this is not working. I'm not reaching my customers. I'm not reaching my users, or this doesn't feel very good to me. So you're not going to do it. So just finding a way. But the accountability partner I would highly recommend. I have somebody that I speak to on a monthly basis, and that really helps me stay in alignment and just not go off track, basically, because I think we all get stuck in the busyness of business, and we can forget why we're doing what we do. Does anybody have any other questions around this before we move on to the others? Cool, awesome. Thanks for the questions. So, strategic partnerships, we don't have to start again. And if we're a new business or we've been in business a while, this is one of the areas that I found when I worked for a developer, and what I found also in my own business as well. If you want to work with other businesses that are aligned with your values, they work with you, but they've already got a customer base. Maybe you don't have that same customer base, or maybe you have a great customer base that they can leverage, and vice versa. So working with them and asking the question, what you can do is, if you're in a networking group or you're in this organisation here, Morning Startup, you can actually have a coffee with somebody, have a chat, ask how you can build a strategic partnership. It doesn't have to be like a ticked off box or anything like that. It can just be, look, we're going to refer work to each other, because you've built that knowledge and your trust with each other, and you know that you can obviously work together, and your customers get that benefit as well. Just because you know that there's a few digital marketers here in the room, they would be a great collaboration partner for me, just because I don't do that part of the work. So knowing I can help a founder with their business development activities, but when it comes to digital marketing, that's not my wheelhouse. So having somebody in digital marketing that I can refer to would really help my customers know that they're going to have that knowledge, and they're going to be supported by another business that I like, know and trust. So you don't have to do it all from scratch. Is there another organisation that have a similar customer base? Or if you're in tech, I know in tech that we used to do a lot of collaboration with designers, for example. When we're building an app, a lot of the designers from other areas could do that work for us, the branding, all of those things as well. So thinking about that, and also building that into your goals as well. So in your business plan, your small business plan, put strategic partnerships in there, and ask basically who will work with you and your business. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I just guess you want to think about that, because business development doesn't have to be cookie cutter and it doesn't have to be hard. And that's kind of why I'm here today. I want people to think about it in a different way. And if you notice, I'm actually not talking about sales here either. So I have a sales background, but business development activities, if you do them right, sales come from that. If people already have that trust with you, they like, know and trust you, they're going to buy from you. Yes, you do ask the question, but you don't have to sell. And that's really what I want to basically touch on today. I don't think this video is going to work, is it? Okay, this is an example. Maybe not.
It's a very different tale nearly 2 decades ago. In the mid-1990s, the company was on the verge of going bust. Time was running out. But all that changed with the return of Steve Jobs. The Apple co-founder came back in 1997 and immediately put the company back on track by partnering with Microsoft. The one-time enemy was now an ally. But it wasn't until 1998 that Apple started showing signs of life. They unveiled their newly designed and much sexier iMac. It was a commercial success. A year later, the iBook laptop was released. Profits nearly doubled. Jobs continued experimenting with new products. Some a success and some a dud.
Even though they were competitors, they built a strategic partnership in order for them to move forward. So I guess you want to think about, even though somebody might seem like a competitor, we all do unique things and we all do different things. So you can still collaborate. I know in developing, often, they'll do different coding in different languages, so you can still collaborate. And that video is really short, so we'll play that shortly. And I guess we're at the questions. I just wanted to say that I really thank you for the opportunity, and just go out and do your business development. Make a basic plan, get an accountability partner or somebody in your business if you have another founder, and work together and just have a plan. You don't have to get it right first time as well, which I've been in the industry for 10 years and I'm still learning. You always are learning. And just basically build your business development plan, basic one. Go out and do your business development activities, schedule that into your calendar, and get out there. Be proud, and that's really what I have to say about business development. It doesn't have to be hard at all. So questions?
Are there any questions?
Thanks, Rebecca. So business development obviously encompasses a lot of activities. And back in the day when I was much younger and naive, I've always thought business development equates to sales. Is there an industry term, or do you have a definition of business development and what that means to startups?
Well, business development is obviously a very broad area, so I've kept it obviously pretty simple for this presentation. Sales is under business development, let's be honest. Marketing is also under business development, and obviously other areas as well. I think it's just keeping it really simple initially. So, laying those business development foundations, know your customers, know your users, who you're targeting with, who you're collaborating and building those strategic partnerships with, and working with that to start with as a foundation. Are you educating your market on social media, meeting for people for coffees? Just starting there really, and then working out what that is, building your plan around that, and then asking questions. Once you know who you're helping with your services or your products, you're just asking the question. If you have current customers as well, which I probably should have mentioned, ask them for referrals, because that's really good. You've already got that trust, and then you can get sales and opportunities through there as well. So yes, it does encompass the sales, but I think if you really build that foundation in your business and you already got that trust and rapport with your network, with the people and your potential customers, your sales will come from that if you ask that question. So I specifically didn't talk about sales for that reason, but obviously always ask for the sale. But you can do it in a way that's, they're already sold. You just say, well, let's collaborate, let's work together. That's all it has to be. I can send you over the contract. Simple as that.
Any other questions? Lady here. I think this is okay.
Yeah, I'm still employed, so I'm still kind of in the dreaming stage right now, and I'm always wondering what are your best strategies for networking, because I think my kind of problem is I've always been permanently employed, so I'm in that kind of area where I'm surrounded with a lot of people that are permanently employed, and I need people to speak to that are in this kind of self-employed stage where I can just have a bit different perspective, ideas. What are your best networking strategies?
Sure. So is it actually finding the networking groups to go to, or is just the questions to ask?
Yes, finding the networking.
Okay, perfect. Well, a lot of them do breakfasts. So if you're still employed, you still have the opportunity to go to the breakfast meetings, or, the Space Cube do a lot of things. They do a monthly sundowner here. So just going to those events, looking on Eventbrite or Humanitix to find events that are before work and after work, and making it work for you. I think that's, when I was employed, I did the same. So just finding, like this morning, you can come to this before work, assuming. So just finding and I would make sure you do a couple a month, just to really get yourself out there. And then instead of having a coffee, ask to go for a drink or something like that after work. So you say, well, look, I can't do a coffee because I'm at work. Can we go for a drink or a late coffee or something like that afterwards? You just make it work, really. And you just mentioned that you're still employed, you're looking to obviously build your business, you're in that startup stage, and most people understand because we all started the same way.
Any other questions?
Doing budget estimates past 1 year, I'm having a hard time getting reliable data from estimating future income. So where do you go to get useful information on projected demand for services? Because I find a lot of marketing reports, they tend to be way optimistic.
Okay, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but it depends on what sort of business you have. So it's just finding, I'm assuming it's a product that you've got, and you're just trying to find the metrics around that? Productised service, okay. That would probably be a bit more marketing. You kind of stumped me a bit there because I don't really do that part. I guess it could be working with a business coach around that, and just with the numbers. I don't know, does anybody else have the answer to that? Because I don't really do that side of things.
I'll take that question. So I think you can look at data. The government has lots of data on different things. It really depends on where your service is or your product is based at. So you can go and find that information from government, from statistics. It really depends. There is data out there, but generally, if you're trying to find what you're asking for is what's your market size, right? And so where can you get your potential customers from? I think I'm going to turn that on its head. The biggest thing I find when I mentor startups is so many startups fail. They kind of fail to actually look at their economics of how their business runs, right? So they drink too much of the Kool-Aid and they go, I'm going to be this big by this point, and they haven't actually worked out the unique economics of what it costs to run that business, right? So I'm going to use Glossy Boys as an example, right? So Glossy Boys sells these great little pens, a very unique market opportunity. How many of those pens do they need to support a team of 20, for example? And when you actually reverse engineer that number, you'll find out it's quite considerable. It's quite a considerable number, all right? And I think that's where my advice to any startups when you're doing this is to kind of start there and work your way back to go, how much does it cost for me to have a wage? A normal startup founder wage could be anything between sort of 65 to 90. Right? Plus your 20% on top of that for all your taxes and your super and all that kind of bits that go with it. What does it then cost for me to have an engineer? Well, an engineer is going to cost me a senior one, 140,000 a year minimum, and then kind of work your economics up there. How much is it going to cost me for marketing? Well, minimum marketing, if you're going to employ an agency, it's going to be about $5,000 their fee, and then you're going to pay probably another 10 grand on top for your Google and your social and your Instagram on top of that. Once you've got all those numbers, you then need to work back and go, right, that's your kind of northern star as to where you're going to be. And I see it so often when I mentor lots of startups from +8 to other ones, they just haven't considered this. And when they work it out, it's ridiculous. There was one I did last year. They're like, how many have you got to do? Oh, I've got to do 150,000 sign-ups a month.
I think he needs to change his model.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, how many have you got now? I've got 500. Right, you've got to. No, it was 1,500, not 150,000. It was 1,500. And I said, how long did it take you to get those 500? Oh, we've been doing it for about 9 months. Right, you've got a real big hill, to climb. It's not to say it's not climbable, but you kind of need to start looking at your business that way. So.
Probably add to that as well. When we were trying to work out our totally accessible market, you can imagine we're employees now, polished, so it doesn't really exist. So how did we find it? A few ways. If you can make friends with people that are in universities, they have access to a lot of those really expensive research papers that get the market data. And then what you've got to do is use a little bit of this and go, okay, if the female market is 100 million in Australia, and we know that men spend this much on self-care, say 10% of that market or 15% of that market, then you've got to work out how much that is and then pull it back to something realistic. And then you've got to reverse engineer, which is an amazing point, because how many pens do I have to sell, or we have to sell, to be able to get access to that market? So that means how much money do we have to put into marketing, how much of our personal time to create content, and that has to come into that unit economics line. So a lot of people forget that part. If I'm getting that customer acquisition, how much does that cost, and can I afford to do it? And then, it's always going to be a ridiculous number, but if you can, aim for 20, and then aim for 40, and then aim for 50, then you start building. And that's the way that we've done it.
That's the problem, that until you get a handle on the serviceable market, you can't work on scenarios where
why you want to get those really expensive research. So there's a lot of companies that do those kind of reports. Just find somebody in a university that has access to those.
Good IBISWell is the...
Yeah, IBISWell is one. There's quite a few. Yeah.
There's no problem you really can't, any information you can't find, really, unless it's CIA secrets. Even that's available somewhere on the internet. Anyway, thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your insight and story. How do I get in contact with you? Okay.
No problem. So I've just got my email address there. The QR code is just directly to my LinkedIn page, my personal LinkedIn page. Would love to connect with you and we can chat further, or if I can help you in any way, just reach out.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. A round of applause. We have this space until 9. Those of you, I will apologise in advance if I'm bumping into you. I have to put this back to our co-working space, and then I will very loudly tell you to go find somewhere else to talk at 9 o'clock. Next, in 2 weeks' time, we do have Marketing 101 with Eduardo, so by all means, come in. We'll let you know what's going on. But thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.